The film starts with a group of card players. A little child, the son of one of the card players, enters the room dressed as Iron Man and promises to defend his mother. His mother, on the other hand, is not amused by her son's antics and effectively dismisses him. Dismissed, the small child walks to the balcony of his residence, a high-rise structure, and attempts to fly. He slides from the building and falls to the ground, but happily, an elderly janitor notices and runs to aid. The elderly guy reaches out his hands, which become longer than regular hands, and manages to grasp the youngster, saving his life. His mother suddenly realizes her mistake and hurries downstairs to check on her kid. She discovers him uninjured and vows never to let her addiction to card games win again. During this time, a number of bystanders who witnessed the entire occurrence began to doubt the elderly man's superpowers. However, just as they are about to reach a decision, the elderly guy wipes their memories with a little gadget in his palm. In the next scene, a barbecue meat vendor named Fire is seen ministering to a gathering of restless clients. His clients have grown impatient as a result of his stove's inability to cook their meal quickly enough, and they are rushing Fire to serve them. He has no choice but to place his hand under the burner and utilize his powers to heat up the meal before delivering it to them. Next, a lady named Electric may be seen working as a dancer in a nightclub. An obsessive simp, on the other hand, climbs on stage and attempts to get frisky with her. She, on the other hand, zaps him with her electrical talents and falls to the ground. Being a simp doesn't seem to end well. In the next scenario, a woman's automobile is observed to be stuck in a pothole and unable to escape. A young security guard named Iron comes and chooses to transform one of his hands into metal in order to lift the woman's automobile by himself. After saving her, Iron, Fire, and Electric receive a call from a man named Eyes, who turns out to be their commander. He swiftly alerts them to a bunch of crooks attempting to rob something near a museum. Soon later, the crooks arrive, and after destroying the CCTVs surrounding them, they blow up a manhole cover and continue with their purpose. Eyes and his band of heroes decide to go after the crooks at this point. However, before they can swoop in, a guy in a shoddy Superman costume dubbed Sticky appears out of nowhere. He's a new recruit for Eyes' squad, but he wasn't meant to report until the next day. Sticky tackles the robbers and begins fighting them off with his super sticky saliva. Sticky is soon joined by the rest of the heroes, who finally manage to round up all of the evil guys utilizing their respective talents. Eyes decides to utilize one of his unique skills on one of the remaining criminals. He begins to hypnotize the bad guy into thinking he is his father, and the bad guy begins to disclose that they work for a Middle Eastern mafia who ordered them to steal manhole covers in order to build tanks. That doesn't sound like the right materials for a tank. Following this confession, Eyes erases the thieves' memory and arrests them. Sticky is then introduced to other members of the superhero squad and is promptly sent to work as a delivery boy in the city. Sticky is perplexed as to why he needs to work as a courier, and Eyes informs him that every hero must conceal their identity at all times, and that ordinary occupations are the best way to proceed. Sticky has started his new work. 7. A technological corporation is introduced in the following scenario. Dr. Bill, the leader of the research team, is now displaying his work to the CEO, Mr. Zhang, and his business partner, Mr. Li, at 7. After injecting a special serum, the apple doubles in size, and Mr. Li is so impressed with the results that he requests to sign a deal with 7 right away. Meanwhile, Sticky's courier deliveries become increasingly sloppy. He disregards Eyes' advice and begins scaling walls in order to deliver his gifts. This scares a woman, who passes out after believing she saw a ghost. When Eyes discovers this, he chastises Sticky for publicly exploiting his skills, but Sticky becomes enraged and demands something more significant to accomplish. Soon after, a young girl named Xiaoya approaches him and begs him to assist her in delivering some garments. Sticky is immediately drawn to her and accepts. While in her place, he receives an urgent summons from nature and requests the bathroom from Xiaoya. While replying to nature's call, he notices a cockroach and panics, spilling his sticky urine on the floor and his hands. His hand also unintentionally brushes one of Xiaoya's inner garments, causing it to adhere to his hand. When Xiaoya hears this, she rushes into the restroom. She then finds her innerwear in Sticky's hand and quickly misinterprets this, yelling at him and calling him a pervert. The poor superhero attempts to explain what occurred, but it doesn't go well, and he ends up humiliating her in front of her live streaming audience before leaving. He seemed to have gotten himself into a sticky problem. Bill returns to 7 to test his cloning method on a lab rat. The rat, like the apple before it, begins to break in two. Unfortunately, the rat does not survive. This irritates Mr. Zhang since he feels that cloning live creatures is immoral. Bill, on the other hand, refuses to listen since he believes his technique would be able to heal fatal conditions, telling Zhang that cloning organs will save countless lives. Zhang, on the other hand, cautions him against it and encourages Bill to put the experiment on hold. Meanwhile, after an embarrassing incident on his previous delivery, Sticky rushes to Eyes and asks him to assist him in controlling his powers. Eyes assists by doing minor surgery on his hands and then teaches him how to better harness his talents. Sticky returns to his courier job a few days later and is assigned to deliver a box to Shoya. When she answers the door, she refuses to connect with him, but he swears that he intends no harm and is only coming to deliver. When she opens the present, she discovers an inappropriate male doll inside. She grows enraged at Sticky and starts hitting him with the toy. This guy simply can't seem to get a break. Fortunately for him, Shoya's next-door neighbor appears and snatches the doll from her, claiming ownership and becoming enraged. Shoya apologizes to Sticky for hitting him after the disagreement. Sticky takes advantage of the opportunity to explain himself from the previous event. Her phone soon rings, and she dashes downstairs. Sticky then pursues her, revealing that Xiaoya's father is Mr. Zhang. Meanwhile, Bill conducts his cloning experiments in secret and successfully clones one of the lab rats. However, he advises his team members not to tell Mr. Zhang anything, and they comply. In the days that follow, Eyes notifies the squad about several hazardous criminals in the city. He assigns Sticky to accompany the All-Star team on their adventures. The crew quickly apprehends the offenders in the days that follow. However, one night during a stakeout, a criminal pursues Shoya and captures her. He then pulls her up a tall structure and attempts to get frisky with her. Sticky, thankfully, arrives and ties the culprit with his liquids. However, the criminal throws Shoya over the high structure and she begins to fall. Sticky notices this and swings by to save her. A thankful Shoya asks Sticky's name, but just as she learns who her hero is, Eyes comes and erases her memory. Eyes then lies to her, claiming that they are filming a movie and that she is unable to attend. When Xiaoya gets home, she gets a call to watch the evening news. It turns out that the events of her rescue were filmed on many CCTV cameras. Sticky quickly becomes a viral phenomenon in the city, with residents dubbing him the Courier. Eyes is enraged by this latest development and wishes to punish him. However, his boss decides to capitalize on the PR stunt by promoting the masked superhero. Sticky quickly becomes well known in the country, and he is invited to participate in advertising, publications, and even as a judge on The Voice. Iron becomes envious of Sticky's popularity and confronts him. Sticky quickly grips Iron, and in order to break free, he discharges his sticky secretions into Iron's mouth. During their argument, Shoya, who has become a great admirer of the Courier, sneaks into the room and unintentionally knocks Sticky down. He then lands on Iron, and they get trapped. When Shoya notices this, she concludes the Courier is interested in males and exits the scene dejected. She quickly arrives to appear and shreds the portrait of her cherished hero. Sticky then appears and attempts to explain to her that the Courier is not interested in men. However, she does not trust him, so he lies to her, claiming that he attempted to profess his love to the Courier but was rejected. Sticky assures Xiaoya that the Courier would personally meet with her and explain everything. Meanwhile, at 7, a member of staff finds that Bill has resumed his animal research and informs Mr. Zhang. He grows enraged with Bill and threatens to resign from his position. Bill, on the other hand, is a few steps ahead of his boss and orders several armed security guards to detain Mr. Zhang and the staff member who snitched on him. Shortly after, he injects the staff with his cloning serum, but the dose is lethal, and the staff dies. Observing that the dosage had no effect on the employees, he requests that one of his co-workers replicate certain data for additional analysis. However, before addressing Bill, Zhang had already disabled his access to the data. Bill is enraged, and he threatens Zhang with his serum. Zhang, on the other hand, rejects. This leaves Bill with no choice except to devise an evil strategy. Back at home, Xiaoya awaits the arrival and explanation of her superhero crush. Soon after, she hears a knock on her door and rushes to open it. They are, unfortunately, Bill's guys, and they kidnap her. Sticky arrives at her apartment for his date to find it empty, and soon finds Shoya has been taken away. He summons Eyes, who gathers the crew to rescue the young woman. Iron is reluctant, while the rest of the squad is. Eyes, on the other hand, instructs him to join the team. Eyes quickly locate the abducted Xiaoya and instructs Sticky to go ahead first while the rest of the crew follows. Meanwhile, Bill is holding Xiaoya and her father captive, threatening Zhang with injecting the serum into Xiaoya. Sticky, fortunately, saves her just in time before anything bad happens and begins fighting against the armed security guards. Soon after, the rest of the squad joins him, and they defeat all of the evil men and destroy all of the data, but Bill escapes. While Bill is fleeing, he is quickly stopped by Iron, who begins to punch him. Bill inserts a needle into Iron's neck. The superhero then turns into a metallic entity and quickly ends the wicked scientist's life. He does not, however, stop there, and soon proceeds to torment and harm innocent civilians. The other superheroes rush to stop him with their various abilities, but they are no match for him. Sticky then tries to fight him off, but he loses and his face is revealed. And just as Iron is about to deliver the final and deadly blow on Sticky, Shoya fires at him from behind. This distracts Iron, and he hurls a vehicle door at her. Sticky saves her, and during this period, she sees his face and recognizes him as the strange delivery man. She shows her delight after learning that Sticky is the courier. Eyes quickly understands that the only way to beat the superhero-turned-villain is to join forces rather than battle him individually. When they all touch Sticky, he unleashes a tremendous saliva blast powered by everyone's combined abilities. This depletes the metallic Iron's abilities, and Sticky finishes the fight by hitting him. Eyes notices that Iron is no longer affected by the serum. He instructs the rest of the squad to transport him to the hospital for more treatment. Sticky finds love in the hands of his crush, Shoya, as the film concludes, and continues to work as a courier. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching my video.